We are live. All right.
Are we live?
Yes, we are.
Sorry, I get distracted there. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ryan.
I'm Colin.
This is Duel the Fans, and tonight we're doing a post episode 1 and 2 recap of Skeleton Crew.
Yes, we are.
So, normally Disney releases their shows on Tuesday evenings,
Yeah.
isn't it? So
For the past while,
this was a change up. So we were going to do a watch party because we originally thought it was a 6 p.m. release time yesterday, but
Oh man.
we are working on our time zones, and we'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah,
So we watched it last night. Unfortunately, Colin and I had to work today, so we decided we were going to do a recap today to kind of discuss our thoughts and our feelings on it, and kind of go from there. So episodes 1 and 2 had dropped. 1 was significantly longer, 2 was shorter. But with what hour of Star Wars we were given, what are your thoughts on Skeleton Crew?
I was very happy with this show. I know a couple weeks ago I said I wasn't really excited for this show, and then as time went on, I got a little bit more and more excited for the show. And yesterday, I had a lot of fun. I mean, it's definitely takes inspiration from the Goonies, like 100% without a doubt. It's got a lot of Goonies style. Like the characters are pretty much the same. Like we picked them out and we were
You were
like,
saying that even like when we're first introduced to who'd be our I don't know really if she's the female protagonist, but the more
Fern?
the
Yeah.
more boyish and like you made that comment that she is
She's Mouth from
yeah,
Goonies.
you know what I mean? She bullies she is bully but in turn bullies herself.
Yeah, definitely.
Um
But the adventure was like a great start, and one thing I've talked about a lot on this show is the hooks. A show has to have a good hook. That was a good hook,
okay, so
right?
we're gonna run through the episodes kind of not briefly. Well, we're gonna just run through them and kind of discuss our thoughts. Um, but just off that kind of hook there, you did enjoy the end of the first episode, where it was them jumping into hyperspace, and it kind of just ends right there.
Yeah,
And the second hook of the Jedi. Um,
yeah,
would you have been okay if there was just one episode released?
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I think the first episode was like exactly how the first episode of a show should have been.
Okay.
It's like we introduce the characters, we get to like them a little bit, and then something bad happens to somebody or the group or whatever. That hook happens at the end, and like I'm not gonna complain about Star Wars releasing more than one episode at a time. Like I love that. That's awesome. We get more content. But if it were released on TV how it's supposed to be, one episode at a time, that would have hooked me. 100% that would have hooked me.
Interesting. I felt that the second episode, while in some of the other series it was like necessary to have like 2 or 3 episodes
Yeah,
released, I felt this one wasn't as necessary, but it was very much worth it because I was
definitely.
really into that plot. I did enjoy the jump into hyperspace. Again, I feel the limits of a television show. So it's like, yeah, they cut to the end of the show, but like they could have cut to something else too. So they start you off with this pirate attack on a cruiser of some sort, and you made a point that it was very reminiscent of A New Hope.
Oh, dude, it felt so New Hope.
Now, and
It
then
felt. Sorry, let me correct myself. It felt more end of Rogue One.
okay,
And I don't know if that's because it's filmed by the same company as Rogue One, so
okay.
like the film style, the editing, all that is very similar, or if it was just because it's Disney breaching a starship, like
Okay.
that kind of feeling.
I did like that the breach kind of felt prequel eras, like that stuff that I felt like
Yeah,
seeing the CIS, like the
yeah,
squids
dude, those
on Camino.
arms that just shot into the side of the
Yeah.
ship and then like ripped it open. That was super
So
cool.
that reminded me of like when the there was the attack on Camino with the squids. I forget what
Yeah,
the ships are called, but
yep,
they
and
were
they would do the same
yeah.
thing. Yep,
So that was kind of neat. So right away, right off the bat, I felt like okay, this is like I'm getting all sorts of Star Wars vibes without
yep,
it saying Star Wars. Like the first scene is a Star Wars. The text crawl I thought was great. It was very short and to the point, so it was
yep,
like for a non-Disney watcher, it just sets the tone of okay, here's when this takes place, and the reason being is because it comes back later. Um, the setting's important, but it's really important in this fact that they have High Republic credits. Sorry, they
yep,
have Old Republic credits, which would be the High Republic.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, they don't know like really what's going on. So
They're
kind of
super sheltered on that
yeah.
planet.
So okay, so we see the space battle right away, and then we get essentially introduced to our four protagonists.
But okay, hold it. Before we move
Okay.
on, that space battle, that's definitely Jude Law, right?
Okay, so
The captain.
yes, so we all believe that Captain Pirate Silvo is Jude Law because it sounds like him.
Yeah,
Like they really didn't disguise his voice, so like I think we're supposed to pick up on that.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's
Okay, yeah. It's definitely Jude Law.
I liked his mask. His helmet looked like a naval hat, like the
Okay.
and it was like that
Yeah, yeah.
triangular, like it was very
That pirate like.
yeah. So okay, the vibe from this show, which is great, and why I'm really enjoying it, it has this pirate motif that it's just going full force with.
100%. You pointed out something this morning that I didn't even like pick up on was
The droid's name?
SM-33. It's me
Yeah.
from freaking
Look,
Captain Hook,
yeah.
man. That's great. I love it.
So isn't that super cool?
Yep.
So um
Because that's
yeah.
Disney, right? They own
Yes,
Peter
yeah,
Pan,
yeah.
yeah, so
So,
they can do that all
well,
they
I think
want.
Peter Pan is public domain, but certain aspects of it are
Sure.
Disney. So okay, so we get the space battle, we get this pirate captain, and we get a second in command, Brutus. Now, you said right away you felt it was very 80s.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of slack from the show, which we'll talk about the reviews later, um, people complain about some of the
Practical
yeah,
effects, yeah.
I am loving everything.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I'm one of those people who doesn't really, like, let that make or break my show. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Like, that I can really care less about. I prefer CG. Like, I think,
See, and so you and I talked about this. We're very different.
yeah.
You like CGI.
Like,
Like you're
good
like,
CGI, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, like,
whereas
or
I like.
bad practical effects, or like, good practical effects, they still aren't up to par with CGI.
See, for me, I'm in the opposite boat, and that's like we have a neat perspective. I feel like good practical effects are always better than computer generated, and even like the worst practical effects can be better than some computer generated. Like computer generated has to be perfect. It has to be spot on, or else like it's noticeable.
But in most senses, like, it's so good. Like, Endgame was literally just CGI, the entire movie. And, like, everybody loves Endgame.
Yeah, but I mean that's a movie of like that's an event. Okay, one of my favorite, and it's super cliched, but one of my favorite movies of all time is John Carpenter's The Thing. That is
Okay,
all
yeah, yeah.
practical effects. That's phenomenal. In
That's a good
2011, they
movie,
wanted
yeah.
to make a prequel to it,
Okay.
and so they had shot a lot of the effects practically, and in turn the studio was like, no, no, we don't like this. Go digitally. And the movie was panned by critics and audience for the digital effects when the first one was so well known for its like
Yeah.
timeless. You know.
One thing I'll give you about practical effects is there's something after the fact. Like, who doesn't love to see, like, Luke Skywalker's original lightsaber from frickin' Return of the Jedi is on auction and it's gonna sell for $200,000 or whatever,
Think
you know
about
what I
the
mean?
actor too. So like Luke in Empire Strikes Back is sitting down with a prop R2D2 and a
Yeah,
prop Yoda. So Mark Hamill is acting the shit out of that while Frank Oz is behind,
yeah.
puppeteer,
In
and Kenny
CG, it's
Baker's.
nothing.
But you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that's what like so it gives feeling to this. So Skeleton Crew, going back to this, I felt the entire time like I was immersed in this.
Yeah.
So big complaint that people have was Brutus, the effect of like him not looking. I like that. To me,
Mm.
like he looks scruffy and like it looks real. It doesn't look super smooth and like a digital effect. And like I'm cool with that. It looks like an 80s monster.
I just feel like there could have been more put into the animatronics in it. Like, I think if he was just sitting there, oh, he looks awesome. It's when he starts to move and talk that it's like, oh, you look rough.
You
Like,
see, and I'll have to pay attention. I'm gonna rewatch the scenes. I didn't. I think I was taken back by it, that there was something there.
yeah, and like it looks dope. I'll give you that. Like, again, if he was just standing there as like a statue, he's gonna look super realistic. He's gonna look super good. It's once they do those close up shots and he was talking and his mouth was just like it just looked so
Okay.
bad. It was like,
Okay.
man, you just like you spend so much money on this costume. Like, spend the extra fucking 50 grand and get it.
Well,
done right,
it was
like,
funny because something we talked about, and we'll go later, Nell's character, like the intentional design where you can't see his
yeah,
mouth move because it's less animation.
yeah, that was a good idea.
Okay, so we go from the pirates and we go to
Yeah,
suburban Star Wars, and a lot of people have been on the online complaining that it's too unnatural for Star Wars universe. I think it's perfect for the story because what we find out later is that where they live at Atlin is like hidden from the galaxy.
yeah,
So it makes sense that it's different from everything. It's
yeah.
not what we would see on Tatooine because it's cut off from these
And
places.
clearly they're super rich.
Now, we talked about this. It's like they're an affluent like society where like everything is maintained on the planet. They have no outside trade because
Yeah,
no ships are allowed to come and go. Like those
yeah,
droids make a comment of that. They use High Republic credits.
yeah.
So they're still like using a monetary that hasn't evolved. So like I wouldn't say they're rich. Like everyone's just like well off.
Oh, buddy, the
Like
way that that bartender
okay,
reacted to those credits.
but their perspective, like his so when we meet the characters, um, Wendell gives Wim lunch money.
Yeah,
And for all we know, it's not really that much. Like he just gave him like his pocket change. But the perspective of what he takes to another planet, it's like, oh, that's worth so much. You know what
yeah.
I mean? But like on that planet, like I don't think Wendell and are like super wealthy. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
yeah, yeah, I agree with you there. I think the whole planet's super rich, but that would make their dollar valued super high. So it would, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think we're on the same page. We're just saying it
no,
differently.
so
Yeah,
like
yeah,
so they're like with their in their trades. So that's neat. I don't mind I enjoyed the suburban Star Wars. Like I it kind of gives perspective a little bit more when you see the pirate stuff later that
yeah.
like these are what these kids are used to. They've never seen the stars, they've never seen anything like they're sheltered kids. They're like people on planet Earth.
Well, and the other thing too, right? Like, every single planet we see is different. This isn't Coruscant where it's super overrun by people. It's, the trade center of the galaxy. It's where all the politicians live. This isn't Coruscant. Like you said, this is a hidden planet that has some money. They're gonna make it whatever they want, right? Like, or
And we don't know like so they could intentionally the planet could intentionally be cut off from the rest of the galaxy. They could have done that intentionally. Like they could have put up those barriers to like, hey, we want to shelter ourselves from the rest and like we're good with like
true,
controlling our economy and making it strong. You know what I mean? And like forget about the rest because they talk about the droids in the school talk about helping the Republic, the High Republic.
okay.
You know what I mean? Don't they say that they?
There's something about that
Yeah,
when he was like, "I want to protect people," and they're like, "That's what the security droids are for."
and I think the stories of Jedi that they're reading are like much older tales of Jedi. Like he's
Okay,
reading like not like Clone Wars stuff. He's reading like High Republic, like first Tales of the Jedi
sure,
sort of thing.
yeah,
So to them, it's like this myth and this story.
yeah.
Um,
I don't hate suburban Star Wars.
I enjoyed it.
It's alright. I don't.
So from that, we meet our four characters:
Yeah,
Wim, Neil, Fern, and KP.
KB. Yeah,
KP, yeah, P.
KB.
KB.
I'm pretty sure it's KB. Let's find out.
Find out. Um, so Wim is a fantastic character, very much like a Luke Skywalker. Um,
KB.
KB,
Yeah,
yeah. Eyes to the sky, like head in the clouds. So Wim is very much this like has bigger dreams and aspirations to a fault. So like he is the cause of all this. He's like I don't know what the proper term is, but he's a faulted hero where like
win.
yeah, Wim, he's well acted.
Yeah,
You enjoy him, but he has faults that keep the story going.
yeah,
He discovers the ship and he believes it to be a Jedi temple just because he's so into Jedi.
yeah.
Okay, so it's not like he's like that's what it is. It's got to be
It
Jedi
has.
temple. Yeah, you know what I mean? He pushes the button that starts the ship and doesn't tell his friends, you know?
Yeah,
He's the one that almost pushed that button again later, which is going to come back. But,
the hyperspace
yeah,
button.
there's a lot of stuff that, like, it would be easy to hate his character,
Yeah,
but you are lost in the innocence of, like, he's exploring all this. Like,
yeah.
he is, you know what I mean? Kudos on
Almost
the.
relatable.
Kudos on the actor and the writing.
Yeah.
So the director and the writer did say that this is a show with kids, but it's not for kids. Like this is an adult show,
Oh,
and we're seeing that like these are complex characters,
Yeah.
you know.
Did you
Um,
pick up on the bartender swearing at him in Star Wars language?
yeah, when they're fighting for the credits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was good. I like that.
I like that.
Little nods like that.
There's a lot of there's a lot of like, so I feel like Wim is very much like a um Luke Skywalker kind of character. We, obviously get um reference to power converters,
Yeah.
when she pushes her bike to the limit and breaks it and has to repair it. So, that's really neat. I kind of like KB's visor too.
I love the visor.
So she always has it up when she's around people. So it's probably like she, kind of her shield or her
Yeah.
social like. So these characters are all flawed. Neil's a fantastic. He's super
Everybody
cool.
loves Neil.
He's super loyal to a fault. But what I really enjoy about these characters, you see where all of them are going to grow. So you see how Wim is going to learn to like stop being rash and like listen to people and like to
Yeah.
make these right decisions and like to think
Be the
before he
leader he
acts. Yeah.
wants to be.
And Neil is going to find his independence and his ability to say like no or to like control a
Yeah.
situation, like his comfort, instead of always just kind of being pushed around. Like he's
Yeah.
going to overcome that. Um,
Fern will get humbled.
yes.
I don't know what about KB though.
KB's the only one that we really don't know a lot
She's
about.
kind of
Like
mysterious.
she's just there.
Yeah. She's a
So
great sidekick character too, Fern though.
all the kids are great.
Yeah.
Um,
A good dynamic.
I don't really know what her motivations are. Like we know Neil's family, we know Fern's mother is the under secretary or whatever.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about KB.
I didn't pick up on that when we were watching it. I picked up on it when I got
Oh,
home.
really?
I was like, they're the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so this kind of, and I listened to someone explain it to this way, and I thought it was great. They enter the ship from the belly, and the ship ends up turning upside down. So it kind of like turns the whole story up on its head,
Okay. Yeah,
like for
like
these kids.
metaphorically.
Yeah, so like these kids have never seen a starship. Like they call them starships and stuff. You know what I mean? Like how many people really call them starships in the universe?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're kind of set into like there's a little bit of mystery. We don't know what's going on. And these kids take off in the first episode and jump to hyperspace.
I
And you're like,
love it.
this is super cool.
Dude.
Where are they going with this? This is super exciting. We see the barrier as they're leaving, the red dots. I think
Yeah.
it's man-made. Like I think it's some sort of defensive barrier
You
they
think it's
have.
real?
Yeah, I think it's like some sort of planetary defense or cloaking, whatever that they have to shield themselves from.
I think it's made up, and I think it's told to the people of the planet by the higher ups of the planet to keep them interplanetary.
Well, like I think that that's what it's for, but I think it does serve a purpose. Like I think,
I don't think it's real
well, I think you can't see the planet.
because they were all scared to fly through it. Like they were
Yeah,
gonna, like they were like, we need to turn around. There's the barrier. We can't do that. And then they just went through it, no problem. And they were like, okay, oh,
I see that. I took it that when they said they didn't see stars, that the barrier essentially was like,
blocking that.
yeah. So um like if you're looking at the planet, you're gonna see right through it because it's
Sure.
got this like cloaking
Cloaking
sort of like
device.
panel barrier or
Okay.
whatever. And that's where they're like, don't leave the planet because then like people can figure out where it is. But like if you were to look at a star map, you can't find
Yeah.
at Atlan because like it's
It's not real.
yeah. Um I enjoyed all that. We see Wim's father and him interact, so they know that they're off planet. So it kind of
Yeah.
sets that in motion
Yeah.
for the parent, and he sees the other kids, so there's going to be a running plot there. Yeah, I just first episode was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I think this is definitely one of the better Star Wars shows so far.
There was action at the beginning,
Yep.
and I'm glad that they did that way because there was nothing else. There
Yeah.
was a lot of humor, like when they went to jump down into the pit, and they both like
Yeah. Oh, and he's like, all right, hold me up
yeah,
here.
it's like
And then,
something they've never done before, and they're just like, okay, let's do
yeah.
this, like thinking they're. The characters are great, introductions are great, loved it.
Yeah.
So first episode was fantastic. Second episode, lot shorter.
Yeah, much shorter. It went by really quick. I remember after both of them, I was like, damn, that's done?
Yeah.
Like, quick.
Yeah. So
'Cause the second one's only like 30 minutes total, which means that's like a 24-minute episode, right?
listen, I'm still gonna go back to these. Probably would have been better movies and shows.
This one, I think, definitely would have been a better movie. I was watching it last night again, and I was like, I just think this would be a better movie. But again, I don't care. More Star Wars content. More
Oh, and
Star Wars
listen,
content.
I get it, and that's that we're getting, but like I've been beating this dead horse that like if these were movies and like released in theaters with budgets for movies and not television shows, like you'd be better off. And everything's on a streaming focus where it's monthly subscribers, weekly returns. So I think we've got some comments.
Nice. Queen Fireheart says, "I think we all predicted you would say that, Ryan." Yeah,
What's a
he's the
running thing
movie
like?
guy.
But like Colin even said, it could have just been a movie.
Yeah,
That was what an hour. Honestly, the first episode was 40 minutes, and then the second was 20 or
they
something.
would have had to shorten that down a bit if it was a movie, but
You could have cleaned it up a bit for sure.
and like the Acolyte, I disagree. Kenobi could have been a movie, and what we got, if you shorten that down into a movie, it'd be better. But it should have been done right, and it should have been a TV show. Acolyte was awesome as a TV show. I don't think it needed to be a movie. Book of Boba Fett, we're not even going to talk about.
I think
Andor was a good show.
I think there are avenues for good shows. Okay, so let's talk about this right now. There's avenues for good shows, which would be like The Mandalorian. So that's a serial. So like Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 were serials where like each episode was like, yeah, they had some plots, but they were different. You could just watch and be like, man, I love the one about this. I love the one about that. I love the, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 are the highest rated Disney television shows.
really.
Okay. Now Skeleton Crew is the highest rated.
No way.
I think it's the highest rated since those, I should say. So it's
Okay.
up there with season 2 and season 2 for
Wow.
sure of Mandalorian.
Wow.
So it's rated higher right now than Andor, than Kenobi, Ahsoka, and I know it's just started, but I think if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes, I think they're
Dude, that's crazy.
in the IMDb they're up there. Yeah,
Let's look at that.
yeah. So the reception has been universally positive. Um, So, anyways, as Colin's doing that, so we get to season or episode 2. We get the robot character Smee, which is fantastic.
Yep.
So Nick Frost, I believe that's the voice. He does the voice.
Who's Nick Frost again?
Him and Simon Pegg do a lot of movies together.
Yes.
Um, I like the robot. He's tricked a little too easily when they like convince him like, "Oh, I'm the captain now," sort of thing. But I like that they have the robot. They have some sort of muscle. Um, what else was there? Oh, there in the first episode, there's a reference to the Star Wars holiday special.
Yep.
There was
On the
that.
team.
I think
Where do you see the rating?
if you
Is
go,
that it?
yeah,
95%?
yeah. So click on that right now. Yeah. So it should give an episode breakdown, but that's what look at the. So it's 95 critic and 86 audience. Nothing has been that high combination. So
This is insane.
I think in episode 2, I think we saw a Venator in the docking
Yeah.
bay with all the ships. I think Borgo, the planet they go to, is from a young Jedi novel. I think they talk about it like it is an in-universe thing. I really like that this um, is it Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean? I've got the board game right there, Tortuga. You know where like all the pirates go in Pirates of the Caribbean, like the island, they all.
I'm
It's just like
Pirates of the Caribbean guy.
it's just like it was like a lawless place where all these pirates are, dealing with their booty and there's, women's and brothels and we see all that. Like it was a
Okay.
really interesting place for these kids to end
Yeah,
up.
okay,
Um,
gotcha.
I like how sharp they are. So like Wim, although he's super naive, realizes like, okay, I've got to hide my money. I've got to do stuff.
Yeah.
I like the whole scene where we see how physically strong Smee is, or
Oh, that
SM-33.
was
The
crazy.
fight, blocking
Dude.
the blaster bolts.
Oh, the blaster boy, and then burning them.
Yeah,
I was gonna say something we were watching. I was gonna be like, look at, they're heating up.
yeah.
And by the time I like did that, he was like shoving an alien against the wall with his burning plate.
No,
That was awesome.
I love his design too that he has a peg leg. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like they're
His
really
one eye is missing, and
they're
like,
really leaning heavily into the pirate motif. So Star Wars was a western and that did well, and now they're going like, hey, let's do like a pirate. And this is going well. So, what have we learned? Let creatives be creative.
Yep.
If they have a vision, let them see it through.
Yep.
I still think it should have been a movie.
We're gonna get a movie, and you're gonna be like, "This one should have been a show."
Right? And then there are certain times, but yeah, like okay, if we did just hypothetically, if they had done like a Young Jedi series, that's it, or a Young Jedi like that's a TV series
Yeah.
because you can have like multiple adventures with these kids and then have
Yeah.
Mark Hamill show up in certain episodes, being Luke or whatever,
Yeah.
filming scenes overall and like that's a TV series.
Yeah.
Okay, the kids are going on adventures, and you're the budget is spent on these young kids.
Yeah.
Luke is still around. We did 12 episodes, great series.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you're doing a I would say Heir to the Empire, that should be a movie, but I'm trying to think of another one. Like,
It should be a trilogy.
yeah, that's a tough one. But if you're doing like the James Mangold one, where it's like the history of the Force, just do a story, just do
Yeah.
one story. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Anyways,
Queen Fireheart says, "Do you have any predictions for future episodes?"
okay, so we see at the very end of this one, we're introduced to
Jude
Jude
Law.
Law's character. We see that he's force sensitive, so I
Is
believe,
he?
yeah, I believe he's force sensitive. I believe he's not a formal Jedi. I believe he heard them talking about Jedi, so he knows what they are because he's force
Do you
sensitive.
think it was the Jedi that caught his interest, or added? Because they said both.
I think
Because he's a pirate.
I think it's an at. I think he's just a force sensitive pirate.
Yeah,
So he
and
probably
he
could have been
heard
a Jedi.
and then he
Yeah,
was like, "Oh,
yeah, he could have been a Jedi. He's a scoundrel. So and he doesn't. His force powers are not very strong. We see that.
clearly."
So like the key's wobbling. So the growth in the show for this character is he's going to learn to do the right thing, and you know what I mean, and like
Yeah.
grow to not be the
So
pirate and
he's gonna go
scoundrel, and
there
like
to rob Adden, and then
yeah,
get
and like
there and be like, "Oh, like these
maybe
guys."
he's going to become the Jedi that Wim thinks he is. You know what I mean, or
Okay,
wants him to be.
that's gonna be cool.
I still think there's going to be a lightsaber in this episode in this series.
I'll take it. I think it's gonna be cool seeing Jude Law and Wim's character though in future
I love
episodes.
sorry Neil and Wim playing with lightsabers
That
when
was
they
great.
first met
Yeah,
at the bus
it's like
stop.
something we've all done.
Yeah, right. Super. Again, the show did feel like even though it's about kids, it's very nostalgic for us as like, yeah, you remember doing that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
hundred
Or reading
percent.
those Star Wars stories late at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk longer than the shows were. Any other speculation? So I feel like Jude Law's character is going to end up becoming a Jedi or some sort of positive Force user, but he's just a very basic one. Um, I think the pirates might tie in loosely. I still think to the Mandalorian and like kind of have that overarching thing.
Okay.
Brutus is going to be the villain of this. Obviously, he wants to get to Atlan. He now knows about it.
Yeah.
So the hunt is like to get these kids back. I think at one point maybe like one of the kids will get kidnapped or something. There'll be like some sort of like rescue to get him back.
Yeah, so it's through now. 8.
Should probably check. Eight. Let's say 8 to 10, 12. I don't know.
Let me check.
Um,
I think Jude Law is going to try to take advantage of the kids and
sure.
befriend them
Yeah. Yeah.
for his own pleasure, and then, like you said, he's going to realize, hey, I'm actually a better person than this.
I think there's yeah. I think you're gonna see a lot of character growth. Um, it's an interesting one though. I don't know where the show's going to go in that like is everything going to be wrapped at the season? Are they going to get back to Atlan? Because if they do, there's no season 2. Because like why would these kids or their parents let them go into space again? You know what I mean? You'd need a super
For
contrived
sure,
like
yeah.
reason for why that's happening. Um, I'm okay if it's just a limited series and just a one-off. Like I said, if it's a one-off, it should have been a movie. But anyways,
8 episodes. They really like their 8 episode thing, eh? They like don't switch up from that formula at
so again,
all.
8 episodes of this length. This is a movie,
Yeah, especially if they're all 22 minutes.
right?
Yeah, 8 episodes. John Watts, David Lowery. Don't know these guys. Bryce Dallas Howard does
So
it wrong.
I like that John Watts is in.
Beginning and end.
Yeah, so it means that he's got like a vision for we're gonna start the show strong and
Yeah.
finish it. Yeah, no, I'm super excited. So Skeleton Crew. Also at the beginning, you notice how it's when it comes up on the screen, it just says Skeleton Crew. When you pause it, it's Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Why do you think that
They're
is?
just trying to bring people. I think even with the way that there is that text call at the beginning, they're trying to appeal to a larger audience. Watch the show Skeleton Crew. It's really cool.
Do you have a favorite moment from either episode? Something that stood out to you?
I like I liked Neil, and thank you. Great question,
She's
by the
got
way.
some real
Yeah.
good questions tonight.
Um, I liked Neil and Wim when they went to do that repelling thing because even though it was just like it was a little scene, it showed you that like these kids are like they're adventurous stuff, but they've never tried to anything like this. They've probably seen people repelling in movies or the Star Wars stuff,
Yeah.
and they like this is what they think is going to happen. This is how everything is, and they very quickly like tumbled down. You know what I mean? And in that instance, there were no serious repercussions, but like I think it's a good kind of foreshadowing of like what these kids are going through. So I enjoyed that for what that little like clever thing was. Um, I kind of enjoyed also the scene where they're eating, they're getting food, and they pay the guy, and then another patron is like, "Hey, he's trying to cheat you,"
Yeah.
and then someone else comes in, and they all start fighting. But you realize that like no one is looking really out for them. Like even the guy who's like, "Hey, he's gonna cheat you," like
He was ready to do it himself. Yeah.
right. So it really does set the tone for these kids that like no one trust no one. You know what I mean? Like everyone is out to get you.
Queen Fireheart, do you have any moments that stood out to you?
Yeah,
And the
there
rest
you
of the
go.
chat, do
Colin
you
knows.
guys have any
See,
moments that
Colin
stood
knows
out
how
to
to
you?
do this. I don't. Yeah,
Um,
chat. What did you guys enjoy from the
but
episodes 1 and 2?
for me, I really like Fern and her
Okay.
sarcasticness. I love the bullshit stories she's telling. Like when she's like, the last dude who skipped school was sent to work in the mines,
Yeah.
and we never saw him again. And then like, what did she say at the ship? She said something like, again in that same like horror esque
Yeah.
like
She
you're
like she.
doomed for life, and then he was like you're so full of crap, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I
She's like, I
like
enjoy
that
that.
because that's just feels real and something like relatable. um I also really 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 liked the burning of the alien with the fields on the droid when he was like, oh, I
Yeah.
loved that. I thought that was super cool. So I would say those are two moments that stood out to me
Okay.
so far in the show. But I mean, the whole show is good. Like,
Again, I said it a few times. I love the set dressings. Everything was so well done in like the suburban homes to like the schools felt cool, but like futuristic. And then the second we went to the pirate landscape and this bizarre, like, okay, I did feel like it feels like Star Wars without
yeah,
it has, you know what I mean? It's got the
it's
Star
like a
Wars.
different world
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, oh, I'm
all
excited.
the ships, the dock,
So
everything.
this means we'll check now a Tuesday release at 9 for every episode. Is that what we are to understand? So find out when does it say for the release for the next one? That would be
10.
the 10th. So that would be
That's Tuesday, I believe.
yeah. So we should try and keep this consistent stream, and I think they're short episodes. So why don't we try and go
10th. I just need a time.
for those of you that join us, or even for you, those of us that like, we've got some viewers after the fact. We really appreciate that. Um, we'd like for you guys to join us and join in the conversation in the comments. Um, Let us know. Is there a time that's better for you? Do you guys want to do a stream right afterwards at like 10 o'clock? We all individually watch it at 9, and then we can chat away at 10, or
So 9 p.m. EST.
Eastern Standard Time.
I'm thinking all episodes are released at 9 p.m.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm
9
thinking
p.m.
they're probably 20 to 40 minutes.
Yeah. So
We can do 10 o'clock stream.
yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
Sound good? So we'll join you guys. Well, join us. We'd love to have you next week.
One second, we got a couple responses from Queen
Oh,
Fireheart. I liked when they went into the hyperdrive accidentally and they were just in awe. That was also a good scene. I'm also in love with SM33 and his theme music. I didn't
yeah,
really pick up on his theme
yeah.
music. What
Um,
is it like?
the music in this show is really cool. So like the theme is very pirate-esque, and um it does have a flair. So like even like the Mandalorian had kind of like that like
Yeah,
gunslinger like nah, nah, nah. Like this is This is iconic. This is very well done. This is the guy who, I believe it's Michael Giacinto. I could be wrong, and I believe he did the Batman.
Okay.
So
And
yeah,
it's back to the practical effects comment. I think it looks campy, which this is meant to be, as far as I can
yeah.
tell. Yeah. I don't know. CG's always a little bit cleaner.
I prefer. I have no problem with Brutus.
My favorite music out of Star Wars, other than original, obviously, like, Vader's theme song and stuff, was the Boba Fett. Dude, that went hard. That song where him and the Tuscans dance to, that went hard. No, not that one. The one where they're like, oh, and they're like dancing and they're doing their like car thing. What is
This the yeah. Oh, Bantha. Well, how does he do it? Like when he's riding,
But
like
that wasn't that's not the music. You
I
know when
know,
they're
but it
all
ruined it.
dancing and like,
Yeah, I know. I
dude, man, I'm telling you, that it was good. I was initially taken back by the practical effects, but it grew on me. Fits the show.
slow slow burn. So yeah. So first
So
episode. I'm really excited. I hope next week is a middle ground for length, and I hope it's not a short one.
yeah,
Um, because it is pretty rough to just
if it's a super long one. I mean, I think we'd all be happy with that. We'll move the stream to like 10:20.
yeah.
We got this. I'm down with a long one.
Easy enough. Okay, so guys, thank you everyone for joining us.
Hit that like
Those
button.
subscribe again. Those that watch after the fact, we enjoy. Comment, we'll read and um
Fit Together
respond.
had a really good comment on our last stream of building a Lego set while we do this.
Yeah.
If everyone else is interested in that, I will buy a Lego set. We'll build up a little Lego set while we do this because I think that'd be a lot of
So
fun.
some people that know me know I'm a very competitive Lego builder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very competitive.
What does that even mean?
So if you do like, so there's two set pieces back there, the Vader and like Obi-Wan. Like you do them against someone, and you like who can build them
I've
fastest.
never done that.
Yeah, so
That's interesting.
we could do something like we'll buy two sets, two similar sets,
Yeah.
set up two tables, and then Stream can kind of bet on who they think is maybe
Ooh,
gonna
look at that.
finish first, and then Stream can also ask us questions to distract us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Donation, 10-minute break.
well,
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Once again, like, share, comment. We love it. And I will see you next week, Tuesday at 10 p.m.
yeah, we're gonna
So.
be in time. See you guys next week.